Alrighty, let's get this show on the road. What's up, boys? Oh, hold up. Let me fix this thing right. I forgot to change my where my camera was looking at. Okay, hopefully I fix it. Of course, there's some I would mess up like that. There we go. I fixed it. Um, how's it going, boys? How's it going, boys and girls? Another stream. Let's talk about that chapter 360. Sometimes I get a little bit confused, but hey, how was your weekend? It was great. I had a fun weekend. I enjoyed myself. I went to go visit my mom and stuff like that. Uh, and yeah, it was pretty fun. Other than that, just normal stuff. How was everybody else's weekend? I hope everybody had a great weekend. Actually, I hope everybody's having a great Monday so far. But yeah, let's get into this this stream. Obviously, as you guys seen in the title for the stream, we're gonna be talking about chapter 360 from My Hero Academia, the latest chapter right now. Now, some of you probably wondering why I didn't talk about it the day of, or even when it got leaked. I just want people to take the time to actually read the chapter first before we actually like start talking about it and stuff like that, because I don't want nobody to be like, hey, I'm waiting for the official release so I could read it. Don't spoil it, right? So it's been released for at least a day now. I mean, the chapter's kind of been out there for like almost over a week. So but it was officially released yesterday, and I hope a lot of you guys got to read it or at least seen the leaks and know what is going on. Obviously, the chapter picks up right after last chapter, like directly right after last chapter. They didn't go anywhere else, because sometimes in these chapters they be jumping in between like fights and what's going on in this battlefield versus what's going on in that battlefield, right? So it picked up directly after last week's chapter, which was obviously Bakugo getting his shit pushed in. Bakugo got violated last chapter, and in the beginning of this chapter, he's still getting violated, which is insane because I actually before like the leaks came out, I was like, oh, I think like the like Mirko and Best Genius are gonna hop in and stuff like that, and that's kind of like not what happened. Uh, I thought they would like jump in like more. I mean, obviously they jumped in last chapter to try and save him, but I thought they were gonna do something like extra in this chapter, like alongside the big three, because I know the last chapter ended with the big three like pulling up and like it's our time to shine type of moment, right? But this chapter was pretty cool, honestly. It starts off with obviously Shigaraki kind of like shit talking to Bakugo, like basically saying like he's nothing, right? He's nothing compared to Deku or One for All itself, and I thought that was kind of like a little funny, I guess you could say, because his whole character is revolved around him not being kind of like good enough, or like he's kind of falling behind Deku. And then Shigaraki, you have a villain like Shigaraki just straight up saying like you're nothing compared to Deku or One for All or even your quirk, right? So I thought that was kind of funny because it kind of just brought back that old sort of how Bakugo was back then, compared to how he is now, which is like he knows he kind of it can't really compete with One for All, but he's still trying his best and he's still doing what he can in the war, and just to have someone like Shigaraki just to straight up tell him like, yeah, you ain't shit, is kind of funny. Let's see what some of you are saying. I was talking about this with my friend. What's a food you would love to see Sun Eater eat? I think a mantis shrimp would be awesome. Is that shrimp that can like punch really fast, or am I thinking about a different shrimp? Um, Jeez, yeah, I got stuff in my throat. Um, I say if I was to think of a food that he could eat, we did like in the recent chapter, we see that he actually like uses a scorpion tail, and stabs Shigaraki with it and tries to poison him. And it got me wondering what other bugs could he eat, right? Because there's a lot of bugs out there, but obviously there's a lot of poisonous bugs. And when it comes to Scorpion is a creature that is a poisonous creature, right? So it got me wondering if he just ate like a black widow spider or just the leg of a black widow spider, right? Yeah, I know it's gonna sound weird, but if he ate the leg of a black widow spider, would he get the abilities or or the properties of a black widow spider, right? So if he ate a leg instead of like the body, so that way he's not consuming the poison, would he be able to like form fangs that also can secrete that same type of poison and probably use it against a villain like Shigaraki? Obviously, it doesn't work against Shigaraki. Oh, oh my goodness, because he's able to like adjust to his surroundings and what's going on. So he was able to spit out the venom that was inside of his body from Sun Eater. Hold up, give me a second. Goddamn. But yeah, so he was able to like spit out the venom from Sun Eater through like a little mouth on his shoulder, which I thought was pretty cool because since his body has been going under all that experiments and that whole operation and stuff like that, I'm actually kind of not surprised, but I kind of think it's like really dope that his body was actually able to also adjust to the point where he's able to secrete or spit out whatever is invading his body that he doesn't want to harm himself, right? So I think maybe like I think it'd be cool to see Sun Eater try and eat another type of poisonous insect, and how he might get around it, because obviously I'm pretty sure you could eat a scorpion in real life. I've seen like videos and stuff like that, and the poison doesn't really like do anything because I think they like take it out. But since he's able to eat a scorpion without getting poisoned himself, then he could probably eat a lot of other poisonous things. Maybe besides like not being poisonous, I think it'd probably be cool to see him like eat a wasp or something like that, and maybe he'd grow like these wasp wings and he's able to fly, and he'd probably I don't know, grow a stinger out his butt, something like that, right? Something kind of interesting. It's weird because Sun Eater's quirk, you can picture a lot with it. I mean, he was able to eat someone else's quirk, and I believe, and was able to form that quirk. It was like the crystal guy from the overall arc, right? He was able to, I believe, eat his like little crystals, and then he formed those crystals himself. So it's kind of like, it's not even just like something that is solely what can he eat that is something that people eat in general. It's like, could he eat a piece of gold and then he can make gold shields, or something like that, right? So I think besides like bugs and animals, I think something cool that other than that I think it would be cool for him to eat would probably be, I don't know, some type of metal, honestly. Like probably like what Tetsu does all the time, where he gets that his iron from, right? The more iron he eats, the stronger his iron is, right? So I think it'd be cool to probably see him eat some sort of metal where he can probably, harden his body. I think that'd be cool. But let's see what else you guys are saying. Yeah, I thought the scorpion tails and the octopus camouflage was awesome. Jellyfish could be cool, or even a mosquito. A mosquito would be cool, just like a long like sucker thing just coming out and just stabbing you. That'd probably be cool. Yeah. Google still says Bakugo died in the last war. Well, Google is wrong. A wasp would be awesome. Yeah, I think a wasp would be cool. But yeah, I do have the chapter on my phone, so that way I could just look at it and discuss what's going on and what I found very interesting. Another thing I found very interesting in the chapter, which I thought was pretty cool, was that even though Bakugo was like, getting pretty much stomped out by Shigaraki, he was still able to use like the rockets and the artillery that was on his back. He was still able to shoot them off. And it got me wondering, how does that really work, right? Is there like some sort of machine where it, the bombs inside, right, are actually catching all of his sweat and putting his sweat into those things? Like the machine itself is capturing the sweat, putting the sweat into like these little, missile cartridges, and like when he's ready, or when he gives like a command, or when he presses a button or something like that, he's able to shoot those bombs that have already been filled with his sweat towards Shigaraki, or wherever his target is at, right? So I want to know how that sort of machine on his back works, that little artillery thing. I think it's a very interesting thing, because we already know how some of Bakugo's equipments work, like his hero equipment, right? Because like I said when I was describing the artillery thing and how that could possibly work on his back, some of his support items, that support items was the word I was looking for 5 seconds ago, but some of his support items actually collect the sweat in from his body, and they get stored into like either his gauntlet or in those grenades that he has on his utility belt and stuff like that. So it'd be really interesting if that sort of support item that he had on his back, the artillery thing, is something that also does the same thing. Because since we already know how a lot of Bakugo's support items can already do that, I'm pretty sure like his little backpack weapon I'm just calling it a lot of different things, but his little backpack thing could do the same thing, where it's gathering his sweat, putting them into little cartridges, and then he's able to shoot them out from his back. Which, like I said, I think it's really interesting that he was still trying to like use it, even though he was at the worst sort of advantage, and he really couldn't do anything to Shigaraki, right? Like he was gonna miss all his shots regardless. And Shigaraki kind of violated when he picked him up from his head with his feet. Like I was like, yo, that's insane. I can't believe he just did that. Like that's so disrespectful. Metal sounds fun. Google is very wrong. Yeah, Google is very wrong when it comes to some of the things in My Hero Academia. And not even just Google, which I know I'm getting a little bit off topic because we're supposed to talk about the chapter, which we could probably talk more about this later, but not even just Google, but a lot of these comic book websites that, talk about My Hero Academia or just anime in general tend to not get the anime they're talking about. And especially My Hero Academia, like a lot of those articles are just filled with a lot of misinformation. Of course, some of them are great for getting information, like when like interviews drop and stuff like that, and like obviously news updates. Those websites are great for that. But when they're trying to like talk about theories or like having discussions about My Hero Academia, a lot of those do have a lot of misinformation on it. But getting back to the topic, I know I just went off I went off topic a little bit, but getting back to the topic, let's continue on with this this chapter. Man, so when Nejiri pulls up, I thought it was pretty cool, right? Because she pulls up, she has like a super move that I'm not sure if we've seen before, because a lot of times when the big three shows up, it's not really that big. Like something big happens, but when they show up, it's not really all that crazy, right? But Nejiri shows up and she has a new move called Nejiri Wave Pike. And this move to me is probably the sickest move, just because it's a straight up spiral beam. It reminds me of the special beam cannon from Dragon Ball, kind of, right? Because it's just a straight beam, but it's also spiraling around. So it's going straight, and then it's spiraling. So it's obviously going to do a lot of damage, because when something is like spinning or it's just spinning, but it's going to its target, like a bullet, for example, right? A bullet spins and it's going in. That's gonna do damage. So when she sent that, I was like, oh, she's about to catch Shigaraki lacking right now. But obviously Shigaraki is too OP for that. So he immediately just breaks freaking Bakugo's whole body to just for him to take the hit instead of Shigaraki. Bakugo was gonna take that hit, and thank God he didn't, because obviously Nejiri was quick enough to sort of divert the attack, and it spiraled in a different direction, which I think is pretty cool, right? I like that Nejiri's attack is not just something that, you know, once you shoot it, you can't do anything about it, right? It's kind of like a, I guess you could say, prominence burn to an extent, right? Where that's an attack where you shoot it and you really can't control it afterwards. It's like it's your super move, basically. It's Endeavor's top tier super move that once he shoots it, everything around him or close to him is going to get messed up, right? That's why in a couple chapters ago, those other heroes, or Kamui Woods was like, oh shit, it's Endeavor, we gotta back up, we can't assist him right now, he's about to do something crazy, right? So I like that Nejiri's move is something that she can control to the point where even though she shoots it, or if it gets too close to a person, she can still divert it in any direction in case she like changes her mind, or like something like the hostage situation, like what's happening with Bakugo happens again, right? Like she could just divert it, which I think it's a very cool sort of move that I'm glad we got to see, because obviously we don't get to see much from the big three, but this chapter was definitely really cool to see how their teamwork really works. So I do hope we get to see a lot more from the big three after this chapter, which I'm pretty sure we will, because Mirio seems like he is going to be giving Shigaraki a run for his money, even though not power wise, even though Mirio's catchphrase is power, but you know, not power wise, but he is going to be like throwing Shigaraki for a loop, like, you know, you can't hit me, you can't do this, and Shigaraki's probably gonna get pissed off. And obviously I think we all know Mirio at some point is gonna get caught lacking somehow, right? It's gonna be something either really dumb or really smart is going to happen that Mirio is gonna get caught lacking, right? And I do believe that if Mirio is gonna get caught lacking, because I know I'm kind of like jumping all over the place, but I'm very interested, like, when it comes to this chapter and what we could possibly see in the future. But I'm very, like, interested to know, like, if Mirio is going to get caught lacking, how is it going to happen? And I think the way it is going to happen is if Sun Eater or Nejiri is going to be put in a position where they're going to get hurt, and he's going to have to do what he did sort of back then with Eri. It's gonna be another Eri situation, except with his friends, right? The people he kind of grew up with, especially, you know, I'm gonna say Sun Eater because sometimes I can't really pronounce his name, I get confused. But you know, Sun Eater, right? Imagine if it's Sun Eater, not even just Nejiri. Nejiri's kind of, I guess you could say, sort of like a love interest, because they did have like that one little moment back in the war arc, but you know, just Sun Eater, right? Imagine if Sun Eater is in a position where he can't do anything, he's stuck, or like he's gonna get hit, and then Mirio's like, the only way I could save him is if I take the hit, right? I have to save my friend. This is somebody who's been with me for so long, and then something bad happens to Mirio, then Sun Eater is going to be really depressed, like he always is, but 10 times more depressed, because he's going to feel responsible for getting Mirio hurt, and then we could probably see a cool chapter with Sun Eater doing something cool, right? I do think Mirio is going to get caught lacking kind of like that, because he was able to like pull off a very clean rescue with the big three in this chapter, when they obviously, you know, rescued Bakugo from Shigaraki, how they distracted him to the point where Mirio was able to just be like, toss him backwards and have Best Jeanist catch him, and he was able to do a pretty clean save in that regard. But I do feel like Mirio is gonna get the work. I don't think he's gonna die or anything like that, just because Sir Night-Eye's vision or prediction did say, he was like, you're gonna be a great hero, like you're gonna be a great hero, right? Which was just Sir Night-Eye low-key spoiling us back then. He was like, yeah, this guy's gonna get his quirk back, it's all right, you're gonna be a great hero. But you know, I do think Mirio will survive in the arc, no matter if he gets caught lacking by Shigaraki. But I did think also speaking of Mirio, the Mirio and Nejiri like tag team attack that they did, where Nejiri like has like her spirals around Mirio's arm, and he uses that as a harder hitting attack rather than just his fist alone. I think that was pretty dope. I think that was a cool example of how tag team fights could be a lot better in My Hero Academia, because we don't really get a lot of tag team fights in My Hero Academia where we have two heroes ganging up on a villain. Some of you might say that we kind of do, but I don't really think so, right? I feel like a lot of the time it's just like, oh, I'm fighting this villain, and he or she is fighting me, and it's just a big one-on-one battle, kind of like with Todoroki and Dabi, right? They sort of had that big one-on-one battle, even though there was people around them, and I guess you could say they were assisting Todoroki. It was still Todoroki doing all of the heavy lifting at the end of the day, right? So it was just a big one-on-one battle. But a teamwork battle like this, like with Nejiri, Sun Eater, and Mirio, I thought it was really cool display of how teamwork could work in a My Hero Academia fight, which I do wish we get to see more of in the series, at least after this point, because obviously we can't get much more before this, but because like it already happened. But after this point, I do hope we get to see a lot more, whether it's in a sequel series or just like in the war arc itself, the all out war arc itself, where we get to see a lot more like team up fights with these characters just working together and using their quirks in a very how you say it, like basically at the same time. I'm sorry, I forget words sometimes. I'm very bad at this, but where they combine their quirks together, right, and it are able to use it for a nice clean team up like attack. I think that would be pretty dope. I'll come back to the stream. My internet sucks right now. That's perfectly fine. You could hop in and out whenever you want. Obviously the stream will be available to watch later if you miss a part, or you're just coming in now and you want to see the beginning, or you want to witness the end because you left a little early and stuff like that. It's all good, guys. Don't worry about it. You could hop in and out. I'm not forcing you here. It's all cool. It's cool beans. All right. What is her quirk exactly again? Energy output manipulation. I think it's something like that. When it comes to like the big three, I know Mirio and Sun Eater's quirks a lot more than I do Nejiri's quirk. And I guess you could say is because you don't really get to see Nejiri like that, because in the overhaul arc, it was mostly, out of the big three, you mostly just see Mirio and Sun Eater for the most part. Like Sun Eater has a really big moment with his whole flashback with Mirio and how they go way back, and then Mirio obviously got shot by the bullet, right? So and obviously Sir Night Eye dies. So those two kind of had a really big spotlight. But when it comes to Nejiri, she's not really like, how do I say it? She's not really a character that is very out there. Obviously her personality is very out there, but she hasn't been really shown that much. And this is like the one arc where she's getting really big moment. Obviously in the war arc, the Paranormal Liberation war arc, she did have a nice moment. She had a good moment, but that didn't really last that long. And now here she's getting an even bigger moment because she's clearly fighting Shigaraki, and that's kind of a big thing, right? So I do think when it comes to those characters, Nejiri is the one I'm the least knowledgeable about when it comes to like what exactly her quirk is. But let's keep it going. I do like the Sun Eater thing. I thought was very cool. I just saw like the panel of Sun Eater using his scorpion tails and also the octopus thing. And now what I really found interesting about this, because this chapter is mainly just rescuing Bakugo and then the big three doing their tag team battle against Shigaraki, but Mirio does have some very interesting lines of dialogue that I've seen a lot of people on social media kind of talk about, like, why, what's going on here? Is Shigaraki kind of like second guessing himself, or like, did he like feel some type of way because Mirio said this about him? And it really had me uh, very interested in why a lot of people kind of felt like that, because obviously like we see like after Shigaraki gets told this, right? So Mirio's like, oh, I get it, you've never had any friends. And then Shigaraki's just like, huh? Right? Like he kind of looked like he got offended by that a little bit in a way. And a lot of people kind of been talking about it. I don't think it's that big of a deal, because we do know, like, Shigaraki right now, he has a lot of comrades, he has a lot of people that care about him, and within the league itself, not just like the Paranormal Liberation Army or anything like that. He could probably really care less about the Paranormal Liberation Army and what they have to offer to him, because honestly, I feel like he was just using them for the most part. But when it comes to the league, he cares a lot more about what they think or what they say or what they want. So to him, those are his friends. Those are his comrades, and those are basically kind of like his family, because they've been like going through it for many months already, right? So I thought that was just funny, because Mirio's just like, otherwise you'd realize there's plenty worth keeping around. And then Mirio gives him like a nice punch with the spiral fist. I'm gonna just call it a spiral fist, because there's not really a name that's given to this attack, and that to me is just a little confusing. I think if you're gonna give us a nice two-piece quirk combo with two different characters merging their quirks together to do a nice dope chicken nugget combo, bro, like, you gotta give me a dope name to go along with it, right? And I just gave it a dumb little name called Spiral Fist, and that's already what I believe is already better than what we got, which is nothing, right? We didn't really get a name for it, but there was also another thing where I remember seeing like, oh, I want to know how Horikoshi is going to explain how Mirio got here now. Like, what is he doing here? He wasn't here before. Like, now he's here all of a sudden and stuff like that. And I do think Horikoshi gave a very good explanation on Mirio's role in this whole war arc, which was, he said, because Shigaraki asked, oh, I remember you, right? I remember your dumb face from Jakku. And Mirio's like, oh, the name's Lemillion. I'm the hero on messenger and bodyguard duty. So he gives a little more of an explanation on what he's really doing. And he said, count on me to fight off any other villains who might crash our party, and to spread intel around without delay. So he's there to like basically fight off outsiders, like people who's trying to mess with the like this big fight that's going on. And also he's going around the whole battlefield telling other people what is going on with every other battlefield. Like, so he's like a messenger, and he's also there to fight off and protect those that are in need. And I thought that was very, very cool, because he also says like, hey, they needed someone who was quick and mobile here at this location at the the UA site, right? The Shigaraki fight. And he's like, and that's me. So I'm here, right? That's why he's here, which I thought was very interesting, that the explanation that they gave for him actually made a lot of sense to me, because it's like, hey, Mirio wasn't here this whole time. He was somewhere else doing who knows what. And why is he here now? Why all of a sudden is he like just here? Was he just watching this whole fight go down from like underneath, and he's just waiting there like, I'm coming out now, right? Like, I'm coming out now. They're kind of struggling, and stuff like that. But no, it was actually a lot different. It was just like, hey, I'm at this battlefield right now. I just got an incoming message where they need me. They need someone at the UA site. They need somebody quick, mobile, and someone who can get the job done, and that was him. So he was the one that it is, besides hopping around in every other battlefield trying to help out with everyone's fight, he's like someone who just like is able to get to point A, point B really quick because of his quirk, and he's able to provide that extra assistance that they need. And I obviously, like, it's very cool. I'm saying obviously a lot. I'm sorry, but I think it's very cool that Mirio actually had a really good explanation for why he's there and why he showed up to that specific battlefield, even though it's a little bit kind of like, at the same time, like, I think it's a great explanation, but at the same time it's like, bro, aren't you like 1,000 feet in the air? How did you even get there? Like, right? Like, am I the only one that kind of like feels that way when it comes to how Mirio got exactly got to that? Like, I don't care like how the explanation was to why he's there, because obviously we know why he's there now, but it's like, at the same time it's like, but I know why you're here, but how did you get here? Because we're all the way in the sky. And I do believe there was like some sort of explanation a couple chapters ago where like the damage that Shigaraki is doing is probably like making the fortress kind of go lower, which I'm not sure if, don't quote me on that. Like, I'm not 100% positive if that was actually something that was said or something that we know. But maybe that's how. Maybe it was just low enough that he was able to shoot himself up to the sky and like from permeating in the ground, because we know how permeation works. If he solidifies himself in the ground, he shoots up. So maybe he just got really deep into the ground and then solidified himself and shot all the way up to where he went inside of the UA fortress. And I guess that's an explanation. I guess, hey, maybe I just solved my own complaint right now with how the hell he even got there. Is it just me? I'm reading a comment. Is it just me, or somehow I expected that Deku was going to rescue Bakugo, but I was shocked that it was Mirio, somehow breaking the pattern that Deku almost most of the time saves Bakugo. I think that's pretty interesting. I think it's also like a I think at the same time it's sort of a parallel to what would have been, right? Because we do know that Mirio was a candidate to being the next One for All user. He was most likely going to be the original 9th One for All user, and since Deku was not there, like you said, and how there's always a pattern of Deku being the one to save Bakugo, or Deku being the one, being around Bakugo when something big happens, because we do know technically Deku didn't kind of really save Bakugo in the Paranormal Liberation War arc, because he was there, he saw him get stabbed, and he was just like, there's no way my man's just got stabbed, right? So, and then he raged out. But obviously Mirio, it was someone who's going to be the next One for All user. So I guess you could kind of say like Mirio took Deku's place in that aspect of things, because it would still kind of count as like a One for All person, or candidate, or someone who was worthy of that wasn't him, was someone who was able to save him again. Obviously, I gotta stop saying obviously, but most likely that wasn't what Horikoshi was going for in this moment. But if you want to overthink it, I'd say that'd probably be, a cool little parallel that you could make. All right, let's see what else happened in this chapter that was pretty cool. Oh, the ending. So the chapter ends after Mirio throws that crazy punch with the spiral on it, right? After he hits Shigaraki with that punch, we go back to seeing Best Jeanist and Bakugo and what they're pretty much doing during all of that whole thing going down. And what I thought was very cool was that Bakugo is beyond, like, he looks beyond traumatized, right? He's like at the point where he's like crying and stuff like that. because of what's going on. Obviously, he's not. I hate myself, but clearly, right? That's a better word. That's a better substitute word. Sorry, I promise I'll get better at talking during streams. But clearly, he's not bawling out, like crying, like some like a kind of like a Deku cry that you see early on in the series, right? He's not crying like that, but he's crying because like he just got violated. Like homie just got messed up, right? You tear up too if that was you. And he's crying. He's like he has a lot of like all this water on his face or tears on his face, and even like I believe there's like spit and blood coming out of his mouth, and it looks like he's very traumatized at what just happened. But that isn't the case. He's still very much in this fight. And Best Genius even thought he was like, damn, like he got messed up. He's probably hella traumatized right now. If he even hears the word Shigaraki, that's probably gonna set him off, and that's gonna be his PTSD, right? That's what Best Genius was mostly like thinking about in his head in that moment, because he's like, damn, this poor kid, man, he just got absolutely violated on this battlefield by a very strong opponent, and he's looking down on Bakugo and is like, he probably feels very crappy right now. He's probably really scared. And Bakugo, and which I thought it was very hype. I was very excited when I read this in the chapter. But he's reading, he's watching, and he's looking at Shigaraki's moves and what he's doing. He's studying Shigaraki even after all of that ass whooping that he just took. He is studying Shigaraki to try and better, assess the situation. And I thought that was so cool because even though he's just muttering to himself and he's not really worried about Best Genius because he's entirely focused on Shigaraki and how and possibly the rest of the crew are going to beat him. And even though it's an impossible odd, he's still gonna try his best, right? He's still not dead. He himself is probably really aware. He's like, I'm not dead. I'm still gonna fight until I actually die, right? That's probably what's going through Bakugo's mind right now, because we do know, and it was referenced earlier in the chapter. I believe at the beginning of the chapter, where Shigaraki's like, you wanted to be like All Might. You love the vision of how All Might was very victorious, but you're none of that, right? You're not even close. You ain't shit compared to One For All or even Deku, right? So he's keeping that same energy that he's always kind of kept throughout the series, where he wants to win. This is something that he wants to do. He needs to do, right? He needs to win this. And no matter what, right? Like how he said a long time ago in My Hero Academia, it's like no matter how bad things get for All Might, he always wins. He always wins the fight, and that's what's probably going through Bakugo's head right now. He's like, hey, things are looking very bad, but I'm gonna win this. I'm gonna study Shigaraki and his fight with Mirio. I'm gonna take a little breather, study this dude, and I'm getting back in this. Because I'm not dead yet, and I'm gonna fight until I die or until I win. I'm not stopping. And I thought that was very, very dope that we see him studying Shigaraki, even though he's basically kind of on death's door, but not really. He's still not. I say he's not as badly damaged as he was in the Paranormal Liberation War arc, because in that war arc he was gasping for air because I believe he had like a punctured lung at that point because he was stabbed like 3 times, right? So I believe Bakugo still has a lot more strength and energy compared to what he had back during the war arc, because I do think it'd be a shame if Bakugo just was kind of out of the fight already, but obviously, but it's very clear that that's not the case, right? He's still in this fight, and I think it'd be really disrespectful if Horikoshi just like ended it like that. And I don't know if some of you guys remember, but I had a theory that Bakugo was going to fight All for One and nobody else, right? That All for One was going to be his sort of villain to fight. And I'm actually very surprised that it didn't go down this way, because it still could possibly go down this way, but it's looking like Bakugo is going to really just be in the Shigaraki battlefield, which I'm gonna low key be disappointed about, because I do feel like uh, Deku is going to be the one to finish Shigaraki, and we could see a heroes rising moment where they sort of tag team together, like work together to fight the final villain. Villain, the Hispanic in me came out, guys. I'm sorry, but the final villain, where they tag team like in Heroes Rising, right? If you ever seen the movie, and that could be something that we could see, which I don't really like, because if you guys know, I made another Bakugo video. I be talking about Bakugo a lot sometimes. I made another Bakugo video where, like, my biggest problem with his character is not something petty, like he told Deku to jump off of the building or something like that. I honestly don't think that's kind of a big deal. Obviously, people have a lot of different opinions on that. To me personally, I don't think that's a big deal. This is manga, right? It's not real life. He's not telling a real life person to do that. But you know, my biggest problem with Bakugo's character is that he doesn't really have a villain. He doesn't have a villain, and I thought that All for One would be the perfect villain for him, because of the trauma and the sort of the pain that Bakugo has went throughout the series, that was mostly caused by All for One. Now, you could make the argument that was a lot of most of that was Aoyama's fault, but All for One was the one who put All Might out of business. Like, he's not a hero anymore, right? He can't be a hero. So, and that greatly affected Bakugo in the series. So, All for One would sort of be that person that kind of gave Bakugo a lot of problems in the series. So I thought that would have been a great villain for him to fight. It would have been just as big of a villain as Shigaraki. We all knew at a certain point that Shigaraki is someone who's a lot stronger than All for One. And plus, on top of that, All for One is inside of Shigaraki's body. So it's like a 2-for-1 special, right? You're not missing out on Deku not fighting All for One, because All for One is already in Shigaraki's body. So I thought it would be really cool to see Bakugo handle All for One, and seeing how it's very cool that All for One, after getting violated by Endeavor, is about to be rewinded back to like his original state, how he used to look, which I'm very excited for, because we're gonna see how he looks for the first time, right? But if that had happened with Bakugo on that battlefield, instead of like Bakugo having a sort of handicap with a disabled All for One, we could have seen a All for One at his prime, which I believe is what we're gonna get, a All for One who is basically at his prime, like before All Might. And we could have seen a crazy battle had gone down between All for One and Bakugo, where we get prime All for One versus, I guess you could say, prime Bakugo, right? Or Bakugo at his prime. We could have seen something dope like that, but right now we're not getting that. We're not getting that. We're getting a Bakugo versus Shigaraki moment, and Deku somewhere in Karajo land right now, just throwing it back on the ocean, right? He's just throwing it back on the ocean at this point, because I believe that's the last time we've seen him. He's like still flying over the ocean. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we haven't seen Deku do much in this war arc, and Bakugo and Endeavor is doing all the heavy lifting, and I still feel like Bakugo should have had his moment with at least All for One, the physical All for One, and then Deku would have had his moment with the mental All for One and the physical Shigaraki, right? I think that would have been very dope, and I kind of wish My Hero went that route, but it still could. It still very well could end up going down that path where Deku ends up fighting or soloing Shigaraki, because that's sort of his job, is to fight Shigaraki, right? So Deku versus Shigaraki is a 100% thing. But maybe like while Deku's fighting Shigaraki, Bakugo is just sent to where All For One is at, or All For One shows up after bodying Endeavor and the crew, leaving probably some dead and some alive, and All For One then shows up to where Shigaraki's at, and then we could get that moment, right? We could get that moment where it's like Deku, you handle Shigaraki, and I'll try my best with All For One, and we could see that sort of go down. So there's still a big possibility that that could happen, and instead of like it just being already separated and them doing it at different points in time, right? But we still could see that happen in the future, which is, I'm hoping that my theory does end up coming true, that Bakugo will be the one to take down All For One, and Deku will just be the one that handles the All For One Shigaraki, or the Shig For One situation, right? So yeah, that was pretty much the chapter, right? Bakugo is studying Shigaraki, and we're gonna probably see something very crazy in the next chapter, and I'm very excited for it. I want to know what sort of your all thoughts, or your guys' thoughts on the chapter. I personally really enjoyed it. I know, when you go on social media, sometimes there's a lot of people that are like, man, this chapter is ass. It sucked. I didn't really enjoy it. I liked last week's chapter more, or this isn't as good as the Paranormal Liberation War arc and what's been going down in there compared to then, right? So you sort of like see those a lot, but I am very interested in knowing how you guys are really enjoying these chapters. Me personally, I'm loving it so far. Ever since the war arc started, the all-out war arc, right, had started, I have been loving almost every single chapter so far, and for what it was able to deliver, promise, and give. There has been only like one time where I felt like it was a little rushed, and that was during the Todoroki versus Dabi fight, where like I believe there was like I believe we were looking at a different fight when that whole Todoroki versus Dabi fight was going down. We went to like a different area, and then when we came back to the Todoroki and Dabi fight, they had already been fighting. Like we see them doing some other shit that we did not see when we left them off, right? So that kind of pissed me off a little bit, because that was a fight that I was very looking forward to, and I wanted to see every single moment of that fight, right? But when we came back to Todoroki and Dabi, it was like they had already been fighting, and we're coming in the middle of that fight, which I didn't like at all. I felt like that was the one time where I felt like the war arc, or the all-out war arc, was really rushed, because why did we skip some of that fight? We could have seen something very cool happen in that fight, and we would never know, because because it got skipped. Well, not skipped, but it was something that wasn't shown. They had already been duking it out at that point, and I'm kind of like that's like the one time I got upset about it. But other than that, this arc has been fine. The chapters have been great for me, and let's get into what some of you guys are saying, because I did see like some messages pop up. I'm loving all of it. Me too. I'm really enjoying a lot of this arc itself, and what we have started to learn, and just the fights in general. I think the fights in general have been top tier. Like I said, Todoroki versus Dabi. When we saw these panels, and I'm gonna geek out a little bit. I'm gonna freak out a little bit, because those of you that know, and you should know, because you're clicked on the channel, you're probably subscribed. But I'm a big Dabi fan, right? My profile picture on the channel is Dabi with an All Might face, because I'm just dumb like that. But it's Dabi. I love Dabi. I love the Todorokis. I love everything about them. Those are kind of my favorite hero family in My Hero Academia. And I guess you could say that's kind of like the really only hero family. But Tenya, Ida, you know, he has a hero family, but we don't see much from them, right? We don't see a lot from them. But, you know, that's my favorite hero family, and kind of, I guess you could say all of fiction, because they really go through it, right? It's a lot of emotions going through it. But when we see those panels of Dabi just looking like a straight up beast, I was going crazy because I couldn't believe what was going on. I thought Horikoshi was just like accidentally blessing me because of how much of a big fan I am of the Todorokis and what they are, what they represent, and what their family is. And I thought it was awesome, man. I can't explain it, but that one panel where like Dabi's just like he kind of looks like a little tank, and he's kind of firing like I believe he's spewing fire out his mouth, or just there's a bunch of fire around him, and he looks like a freaking beast. He looks like a demon. That to me was one of my favorite panels in the war arc so far, in the All Out War arc, and that's just been one of my favorite panels so far, and I love it. I love it. I think my second favorite panel is Endeavor making a fire fist out of his freaking stump. That was so dope. I think the Todorokis just have probably the coolest panels in the series. I mean, there's a lot of really good panels. There's a lot of amazing, beautiful, and worked on panels. But to me, personally, I think the Todorokis have some of the best panels in the series. And I hope me making those P noises didn't really violate you guys, because I know sometimes in videos when I go, it kind of violates. So I hope that didn't happen. Sorry if it did. But yeah, those panels were great, and I love Endeavor's panels. I love Todoroki panels that we've gotten. I love the Dabi panels that we've gotten. Those panels to me are like perfection. Like I still think it's kind of insane how Endeavor was made a fire fist. Now he put a new definition to his move, Fire Fist, dude. He made an actual fist out of fire and violated All For One. That to me was just insane, and that's why I say the Todorokis are the best in the series. Let's see, Aaron. Let's see what Aaron has to say. At the last page of the chapter, I think it hints that Deku might come on the next chapters, or in the next chapters, because I saw that there's this blinking thing in the panel. I really enjoyed the chapters lately. It felt a bit rushed, knowing that Horikoshi wants to finish the story this year or maybe next year. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting topic to talk about. The end of My Hero Academia, which is supposedly gonna be this year, and I don't think that's gonna be the case, because I feel like we kind of barely got started. Oops, in this arc. My phone is going off. Somebody's calling me. But yeah, I feel like we barely got started in this arc. Like when you really think about it, this arc kind of like barely got started. I'd say we're at least, when it comes to this arc, we're at least a quarter of the way in. Because of all the things that happened so far, we still haven't seen a lot of the fights that we want to see. Or at least that we know is going to happen, right? So, All For One versus Endeavor is something that isn't over. Shigaraki and Deku hasn't even happened yet. I think once Shigaraki, or not Shigaraki, I think once Deku makes it to Shigaraki, I think that's when we're getting into the final like fight, right? Like the final fight, the final thing that we're going to see in the series. I think once that happens, that's it, right? That's when we're getting into real Endgame territory. But we still have to see Toru versus, not Toru, Toga versus Ochako and Froppy. That's still a fight that we have yet to see anything from. So I think once we get to see like whatever's happening with Dabi, once we see that, once we finish seeing that, and that's over. Then we're gonna get, uh, the what's going on with I'm having a brain fart right now. All for One and Endeavor, which I'm pretty sure Endeavor is going to totally get washed, and then that's going to be handled by Bakugo later on. So that'll be Endgame type of thing. So we have to wait and see what happens with Endeavor and All for One. Toga and Ochako, which Toga has a big trick up her sleeve, like if it last resort type of thing. She has the blood of twice that she can use, and obviously we know that she can use people's quirks from the bloods that she drinks. So she is going to mess things up. We still have to see the aftermath or the result of her drinking that blood. So we're gonna have to see that fight. We're gonna have to see her drink the blood, and we're gonna have to see what happens after that. There's a lot of stuff that needs to happen until we get to that end point, to that end point of Deku fighting Shigaraki, or at least when it's about to end, right? We still have a lot to see, and this was me just listing off things off the top of my head, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot more, right? A lot more that we need to see. Kirishima and Mina versus the villain that killed Midnight, right? There's still a lot we have to see, and there's still a lot of stuff that it isn't just like written out yet. So I don't think My Hero Academia is going to end at the end of this year, because Horikoshi, or not Horikoshi, but just My Hero Academia itself has been going on breaks. Horikoshi's been going on breaks. I wouldn't say like a lot, but he's kind of been going on breaks a lot. All this talking is like drying my throat, guys. Sorry. But Horikoshi's been going on breaks a lot, and just the series itself has been going on breaks a lot. So I don't think My Hero Academia is going to really end at the end of this year. If anything, I do think My Hero Academia is going to end in the middle of next year. In the middle of next year, or at least in the first quarter, right, of 2023. Wait, I get mixed up with my dates sometimes. I gotta make sure we're not already in 2023. But in the first quarter of 2023, that's when I believe My Hero Academia is actually going to end. So there's a lot we still have to see. Neno or Nero, sorry, I still need my glasses. I actually had an appointment the other day, and I'm gonna get glasses soon, so I'm sorry that I messed up your name. Nero. Well, to be fair, Hori did say he wanted a short story, then a long time ago. Then a long one. My fault. I'm so dumb. I actually didn't know Horikoshi said that. I think what I remember Horikoshi saying back then was that he wanted My Hero Academia to end in the 20s or the 30s. Like, it was supposed to end around there, like the volumes. Like, it was supposed to end around either volume 20 or volume 30. And that's clearly not what happened. Because I believe when he talked to like a mangaka, he was like, yeah, usually you have in mind where you kind of want to end the series, or where you kind of want to end the arc. And when you think like that, when you think you're going to end the arc in like 20 chapters, just know that it's going to be probably another 30 chapters on top of that when that arc actually ends, right? So I think that's what happened with Horikoshi. He thought an arc was going to end really early, or he thought the series was going to end really early, but the arcs he was doing was longer than he originally anticipated. When do you think Stain will come back? Oh yeah, see, this is why I love you guys. Stain is still out there. Stain is still somewhere out there, and we have to know what happened to him. And I do think Gentle Criminal and La Brava is gonna come back. But I've already made a theory on that of the La Brava and Gentle Criminal situation, where I think that there's gonna be not a lot of heroes being able to fight because of what's been going on in the war. And that was before, I believe, the war even started, that I made that theory. But there's not going to be enough heroes. and they're gonna need more heroes, or they're gonna need that extra help. And that's when I think La Brava and Gentle Criminal are gonna come out and help, because we do know that Gentle Criminal wanted to be a hero. He's sort of like a anti-hero in a sense, right? And this could be his golden opportunity to sort of make things right. And we do know that there were prisons that got attacked that All For One wanted to attack to sort of get the police and the heroes off of his tail. So one of those prisons could have very well be where Gentle Criminal was being holed up in, right? And he just escaped to go see La Brava again, because they're like in love with each other. So so I do think Gentle Criminal is probably going to show up. Stain, now when it comes to Stain, I think we could see something very, very dope in that, because we do know that the heroes like Endeavor and stuff like that, they feel very strongly when it comes to Stain, and they probably would not want to work with him. They're like, hey, this guy, like he's a villain through and through. I don't want to work with him. I think even like when All Might got that intel, I think either Endeavor or some of the police guys were kind of like sick that he even did that, right? That someone like Stain was helping them. Like it didn't feel right to them, right? So I do think like some of the heroes will feel that sort of same energy, where it's like, this doesn't feel right that you're helping us, or that you're doing this with us. Like we know who you are. We know what you've done to a lot of heroes and possibly some of their friends, right? And even like Tenya. Imagine if Tenya and Stain were in the same battlefield. How would Ida I can't speak. How would Ida react to that? Right? So there's some things that could pop up, like a Stain cameo, or not even a cameo, but like Stain showing up to help, Gentle Criminal showing up to help. There's a lot of things that could happen. That's why I say like this series could actually just end in mid 2023 or the first quarter of 2023. There's so much out there, guys. So much out there. Lady Nagant could show up. I do feel like she's gonna show up, just because like she's not dead, right? So if she's not dead, or if a hero's not dead, and it's not confirmed to us, there's a possibility. There's always a possibility, and I do think Yoichi, I meant Koichi. I do think Koichi is gonna show up too. But that's depending on how things have changed since then compared to now, because we do know that Yoichi, I'm so dumb. I'm getting the names mixed up. That Koichi was like kind of banned from Japan. Like he's kind of like not wanted there. He's pretty much like a villain there. So so there's a big chance that we could see him show up, because and it could clear his name of what happened years ago. But there's a good chance we could see him show up. He could pull a Star and Stripe move and just pull up, because he has connections there, and personally there is a stake in it for him if he does show up. If he does show up, there is a big stake in there for him, because Pop Step is still in Japan. She's somewhere in Japan. I believe that's how it ended. Like the Vigilantes ended, that she's still in Japan. She moved, but she's still in Japan, right? So he could be really worried about her. Like that's kind of like, oops, that was pretty much his love interest during that series. And who knows, maybe he got with the detective's sister, which that was kind of like a ship that I wanted to happen. But Bakugo will die confirmed. Really? That's very interesting. I mean, I don't know, but that's very interesting if that does happen, because that could be a very big thing. Now you got me thinking, Herovation, you got me thinking, my man, because now it's like I know I was just talking about vigilantes and stuff like that, and how Yoichi could fit into this war arc, but now you got me thinking, man, because that typically doesn't happen in shonen, right? Where the rival is the one who dies. So it could be a very, very big thing between Deku and Bakugo. Like they could have a very big emotional moment, uh, where it's like, damn, man, like sorry, bro. like I'm sorry. Like it could be something along those lines, but it could be very, very big because obviously All Might um sacrifice possibly. Yeah, I could definitely see that happening because the way he was looking at the end of this chapter specifically, he looked like he's ready to risk it all. Honestly, he's ready to risk it all. I think it'd be cool if it's a sacrificial play. I think it'd be very, very dope if Bakugo pulled a Vegeta, like how he did in the Majin Buu arc, where he just blew himself up. He just like did the ultimate blow up, right? He did the ultimate blow up, and I think it'd be pretty cool and to see maybe Bakugo do some sort of sacrificial play like that, where instead of him like just jumping in front of spikes again, like how he did in the last chapter, it'll be a lot more meaningful because it's like, hey, this is the best I can do right now. I'm not no one for all user. I'm not like you, Deku. This is the best I can do, and it's just like he blows himself up from all of the sweat and that's secreting from his body and that's within his body, and just he ignites it and just completely blows up and takes whoever he tried to blow up with him, or just pull that Vegeta move where I believe like he succeeds in blowing them up but they regenerate type of thing, and that'll be its own like big emotional moment because it'll feel like Bakugo's sacrifice was for nothing. But that would be a very cool thing, honestly. I think a sacrificial play from Bakugo would be dope. But going back to the Koichi thing, I think Koichi would actually try and risk it and go to Japan because of Pop Step, and Knuckle Duster is somewhere there. We know Knuckle Duster is there, so whatever Knuckle Duster is doing, he better be putting in work right now. I do think that the cast of vigilantes needs to show up, just because at the end of Vigilantes there was like the vigilantes will return. I don't think it said exactly that, but it was just like I can actually pull it up real quick on what was actually said at the end of the chapter, which had a lot of people theorizing like, yo, are these guys coming back for real? And a new era. There's no way I got played. Oh, the end. Thank you for reading. The story continues in My Hero Academia, right? That's what was said at the end of that. I thought I just got played by Shonen Jump. That's what it says at the end of that, right? So the story continues in My Hero Academia. Obviously, that could mean, just continue reading the story. The story of All for One and stuff like that continues in My Hero Academia. But it could be like, hey, the story of these characters continues in My Hero Academia. There's a lot of like subtext and stuff like that you have to look into, but that's what we could see. We could see that these guys show up again, and that's how their story continues. But let me go back to reading the chat. Whoa, with the explosion quirk and everything, maybe a star explosion, like a prominence burn kind of explosion from his quirk awakening. Yeah, that's kind of like how I see it going down. Like he just blows up and does a massive explosion on like some crazy level, like what you said, a prominence burn type of thing. Oh my god. Streaming and talking for so long is killing me. But yeah, like a prominence burn kind of a move from Bakugo, but just something that completely and utterly destroys its user by blowing himself up, right? That's how I could see that going down. Like especially his sacrificial play. I don't want, if he's gonna sacrifice himself, I don't want another Paranormal Liberation War arc thing where he's just you know, hey, no, take me instead, or stab me instead, right? I don't want that to go down again, because then it'd just be like, oh, that's just all Bakugo is, right? That he's just there to save Deku's ass, and then Deku put in the work later, right? That I don't want that to be kind of like a trend. If he's going to do it, if he's going to make that sacrificial play for this arc, and be officially dead, I want him to make it big and flashy like how he is. Like it'd be pretty cool if he's just like die, and then he blows up and then dies. I think it honestly be very fitting for his character to sort of do something like that. Aaron, I think Bakugo won't die because I think the relationship between Deku and him is what I think one of the trump cards in fixing their friendship. What I kind of want to expect to happen. So what you're saying is their teamwork, their friendship is going to basically be the reason why they win. And I could see that happening because, like I said, I don't know what's going to possibly happen in this war arc. And and that could be a possibility, but Horikoshi did say that he used the idea of Bakugo and Deku teaming up for the Heroes Rising movie. That was an idea that he like sort of gave them, and it was like, make it work. Well, not make it work, but I do believe he had his role to play in that, because it was his idea to begin with, was to give Bakugo One for All, have them share it, and then do their thing. And we could potentially see something like that happen again, but do we want to, right? We've already seen it before. Do we need to? Keep up the good work, man. I'll keep tuning in. Gotta go. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Herovation. It's been a pleasure, man. Thanks for stopping by, dude. Great conversation. But yeah, that would be something, right? To see go down. Is damn, when he said bye, like everything left my brain. Sorry guys, sorry. But it's like do we want to see that happen again, right? Do we want to see Bakugo and Deku teaming up and sort of being the reason why everything is fixed, or is the solution to this problem? And personally, I would have loved to have seen a Star and Stripes and Deku sort of doing that, because we did get that cool little manga panel of them like being back to back, and is what All For One kind of feared the most. That would happen between them is like they work together, and that's gonna be his downfall. And obviously we know that's not gonna happen because she's dead. But I think it would be interesting to probably see that. I think what we could see, right, is Bakugo, Deku, and Todoroki teaming up. It would still kind of be on the same lines of Heroes Rising, where it's a big team up that happens, and is the reason why the big All For One type of villain is defeated, and stuff like that. But I think it'd be very interesting because we don't see much from these characters. No, I can't say that. Wait, I can't say that. We don't see like a great teamwork. We haven't seen a great teamwork from them, which is like them working together like the big three, like how we've seen in this chapter, right? In chapter 360. So if we see something like that going down with Bakugo, Deku, and Todoroki, I think that would be cool. I think that would be how I would like to see them win. Is that these three powers combine, these three dudes combining their powers together and being the reason how they win. It's not just One For All, and it's kind of been like a big thing where it's like Deku needs to stop carrying all of this pain, suffering, and this heavy burden of responsibility on his shoulders. So why not share that with someone like Bakugo and Todoroki, two guys that he has grown very, very close to in the past couple months. So I could see that happening, where it's a three. I was gonna say something very, very inappropriate, but you guys get what I was gonna say. But it's those three characters teaming up, working together, and saving the day at the end. I think that's how I could see it happening with when it comes to like at least Shigaraki, right? So I think that would be cool. Let's see. Haha, you should try DMing. But yeah, that was pretty much my thoughts on the chapter. I don't know if I want to end the stream just yet, but you know, I'm having kind of a blast right now. My throat is having the opposite effect. Pause, but I'm having fun. I love streaming. But yeah, I mean, this stream is mostly just about the chapter, anyways, and that's what it's supposed to be, anyways. But you know, it's been a blast. It's been fun. This chapter was great. I'm very interested in seeing what's going to be going down next chapter. Next chapter, I feel like, is what's going to be happening. And of course, when that happens, when the next chapter happens, expect a live stream on Mondays, or at least I'll try, right? Because sometimes I have an appointment for the kid, or you know, maybe I just can't have him being taken care of that day. So I'll keep you guys updated, but I will try to make sure that when we do like these chapter discussions, these chapter reviews, that is going to be on a Monday. So just to keep everybody informed, Mondays will happen. We might have bonus streams, like how like we kind of had the first ever stream that we did, right? Where it was like we're talking about like these, you know, different variety of topics. And I'll, of course, if you guys have questions, I'll be sure to answer them right now. But, you know, I'm probably most likely going to end the stream very, very soon. But yeah, we'll be having extra streams. Like, got to go now. Bye, Aaron. It was fun. Thank you for stopping by. But, you know, for like extra streams, like we'll just talk about bonus stuff, like different topics, what's going on in the news, of course My Hero Academia related, not like news like what's going on in the world type of thing, but you know, My Hero Academia related. We'll keep it My Hero Academia related. I do want to have watch parties with you guys, and that might be a little hard, but it might not be, because the way I'm planning on going about it is that when I'm doing a watch party, I'm gonna have like a timer in the corner, and we're gonna watch it. I do kind of want to get it set up before August 1st, because I believe August 1st is when the OVAs for season 5 are coming out, and they're going to be available on Crunchyroll, and I want to have a watch party with you guys when that happens, which is going to be very, very early, so a lot of you guys might not be there, and I might not even do it, because like I said, it's going to take a lot of prepping, a lot of time. I'm going to have to set up a timer, and I don't know how to do that just yet. So, you know, I'm going to have to learn how to do that. I mean, before the stream even started, I made the stream is starting type of thing by myself. So I'm going to have to learn how to do all that. And, you know, I want to try and get those watch parties ready for season 6. I want to have a lot of watch parties, stuff like that. We could talk about the episode during. The way the watch parties are going to go down, by the way, is we're going to be very quiet during. You could like do comment, you could do chats and stuff like that if you want, but you know, I'm going to be quiet. I might like say a thing or two during, but I do want to be very quiet, because you know, we're all watching it together. I'm not going to be like, oh, that's this and that and then this and that and that. You know, if I'm going to like do all that, I'm saving it for a video, right? Because you got the anime versus manga stuff, right? If I'm gonna talk about stuff like that, I'm gonna save it for a video. We're just gonna enjoy those episodes and stuff like that, and that'll be it. That'll be kind of how the watch parties are gonna go down, and we can obviously discuss the episode afterwards during the watch party, but that'll be about it. That's how I kind of want the watch parties to be, and once we're done discussing that, that's the end of the stream. So you know, just kind of giving you guys what to look forward to in the future. We might do a watch party stream on August 1st. That'll be the first one. Then I might be going into like, you know, we'll watch the movies together, sort of like bonus things. I'll try and keep those on the weekends and stuff like that. Just to sort of, you know, I like this community. I want to build more with you guys. So that's how it's going to pretty much be like. So That's how it's gonna be. If I don't do a watch party by then, we'll just have a stream discussing the episodes, because I do have a feeling those episodes are gonna be very good. The baseball episode is what I'm really looking forward to. Like I told you guys before, I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball, so the Dragon Ball baseball episode was one of my favorite fillers. So I'm very excited for this. But yeah, that's about it, guys. I'm gonna be ending the stream soon. My throat is freaking killing me right now because I'm just nonstop talking, and I hope you guys did enjoy it. I hope you guys had fun, discussing this and all of that. It was a fun stream for me because I get to talk to you guys all the time. So like I said, I'm gonna be ending this stream very soon. I'm gonna read these last two chats, and then we'll be done. So I really enjoyed the discussions, and it's my first time sharing things online. I'll try my best to tune in because it's already 3 a.m. here. Got to get some sleep. Oh, that's why. So that was Aaron when he said bye earlier. Thanks for having the discussions, and I'm glad that this was your first time sharing things online. That's what it's all about. So, we just all talking together about My Hero Academia. It's all love. It's all nothing. But nobody's fighting. We might have different opinions on certain things, but that's what it's all about. We're supposed to hear each other out when it comes to stuff like that. Do you think Deku could give One for All to everyone like a Kyuubi cloak in the 4th Great Ninja War? So some Naruto reference going on there. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it'd be too much of an ass pull if that happens, right? We've already seen a temporary One for All user, that being Bakugo, and that was cool enough, right? I think that was probably the coolest thing that I've seen in My Hero Academia. I wish I could have got my live reaction of when I first saw that in theaters. I was screaming, guys. But, I don't think that's really gonna happen. I don't think everyone's gonna get One for All. It'll be too much, the power of friendship type of thing, and I don't think that's what's gonna happen. I do think they're gonna have a power of friendship type of moment, but I don't think that is going to be that moment, right? Everyone getting One for All type of thing. So I don't think that'll happen. I kind of hope that doesn't happen. I really don't want that to happen. But other than that, yeah, that's personally how I feel. I don't think that's going to happen at all. Keep that in Naruto. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for stopping by. I'm gonna be ending the stream. I love you all. Subscribe. All that juicy stuff, like the video or like the stream, all of that. And thank you for coming by. I really appreciate it. A new video should be out by the end of this week. Thank you, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.